what is the difference between male communication and female communication?
Okay. This is very hard for me because I have some parts of me that's more naturally masculinely oriented when it comes to my communication, and then the feminine. And I've been learning about the feminine. But in general, we know that women tend to speak with their feelings. What I learned a lot is that sometimes it doesn't even matter what the facts is, or the facts is skewed by a perception based on the emotion behind or how they feel about the fact, right? So now, I don't know, I don't mean to give a tip, but I know I do this too, where I'll hear something but then I'm thinking what you mean is something else. And then that's an emotional response. And then it's my responsibility to stop and say, hey, when you said that, what I'm hearing is X, Y, and Z. And then they can clarify with facts. Or the other person, if they're advanced enough, might say, okay, what are you hearing? If they see an emotional response that's not necessarily conducive to the fact, what are you hearing? And then they could go, oh, well, what I'm hearing is X. Yeah. So in general, women tend to go with feelings. And in general, because of that, women tend to be more neurotically oriented, tend to be more creatively oriented, and tend to, therefore, think more inductively versus deductively.
Which would mean, if I'm listening correctly, that you will give them one piece of information and they will create like 3 different stories.
Yes.
That are not related to that one, that are related to that, but not a fact of what the other person said.
Well, it could be a fact, but they might steer off into a whole different direction when that was only, let's say, an example to an actual point that you're making. So she might get hung up on what you just said with the example. Well, actually, and then going off into here, and then he might say, oh, okay, but that's not the point. I can give you an example because that's not the point of the conversation.
Don't do that. You're just giving more ammunition.
Yeah, but it's because they tend to think step by step versus the end goal first. I'm not saying this is every female.
Yeah, and it all depends on like the moment, the emotions, like what's happening, what are we discussing and all that. I think the skill that is really difficult that I'm trying to learn for my own and that I think guys need to learn is just knowing when the woman is speaking with emotions and when she is not. Because then we get tripped the same way where the person is speaking about their emotions and we think that those are facts. So then we're taking everything that you're saying as you believe that that is a fact of my actions or the setting or the relationship or anything. So then that gets a man so frustrated when you have plenty of things to show that what you are saying in this moment is not a fact. So it's like you're fighting a fact with an emotion. And if we don't realize that that's what's happening, it's so frustrating.
Argument.
And that's something that at least I'm trying to work on that to improve myself. And I think it would help guys a lot. Where you almost, and I know this is going to sound weird out of context. It's almost like you have to ignore what you just said.
That sounds so bad, but
It sounds bad, but in that moment, I'm saying you have to ignore what she just said so you don't take it as a fact. It's almost like whatever she said right now is not a fact. Just understand that that's how she feels about something.
Yes.
So don't take it too hard and don't make it like a core fact of the situation, because in that moment, the person is speaking about how they feel about something, but they're not necessarily saying that you are doing that, which is the other thing that is complicated about communication, where you could, like, I could say, like, I feel like you don't love me. And they're not saying that, hey, I know that you don't love me. They're just saying that in that moment, I feel like, so I feel like it's completely different from you don't.
Yes.
But I think for a guy's head, when we hear that, what we are connecting to is like the fact. And then it could be like, what do you mean I don't love you? Like I do this, and this and this to show you.
Well, so to that point, women tend to want to be heard and validated, and men tend to want to problem solve.
Yes.
So naturally, men tend to want to know the facts because that's the way you problem solve. So, okay, give me the facts. Okay, then we can problem solve. What do you mean I don't love you? Because I do this. You're problem solving for them. Like these are the facts. These are the evidence in which I do love you. So like you're wrong.
Yes.
It's very logical. But what she's expressing is like, hear me, validate what I'm trying to say right now. And so, yes, to your point, you almost have to ask, okay, what's the underlining, especially when there's a tonal change, when it's high pitched or the volume is higher or even lower where they're feeling a little bit hurt. Their body language is, if they're feeling vulnerable, they're here versus they're out here, maybe they're in fighting mode. So they're just like, this is what, I don't feel like you love me.
Yeah.
You have to take all those things into consideration, which women are naturally better at than men. Men tend to think about the content and go, okay, I have this content. Now what do I do with it? Versus looking at the tonal, the body language, how she's veering off to her natural homeostasis and how she communicates. And women tend to be better at detecting those things. So we naturally know, oh, wait, like you feel hurt. Wait, what happened? Right? So naturally we go into that mode because we understand we're piecing all those things together.
Mm-hmm.